Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege to share the dais with experienced dignitaries. I thank you, Cadila Pharma, to choosing me as a speaker for this session. So it's 10:30 and I'm going to talk on tuberculosis. And half of the people are sleeping, I guess. But I think this is the right topic to talk upon. To wake up to talk about when we are on the verge of MDR tuberculosis. Then XDR is coming up, extensive drug tuberculosis. And now I have heard that it's a TDR coming up, total drug resistance. So I wonder, I fear how we going to manage this tornado coming up. So what are we lined up with? So today I'll be talking upon mainly we already know how, what is the epidemiology and how dangerous this disease is. So I'll just brief about the recent advancement in treatment of tuberculosis. Topic: recent advancement in treatment of tuberculosis. So the outline of the presentation would be treatment of drug-resistant TB, new drugs and regimen, and drug-susceptible TB, new drugs in that. So now WHO has come up with this very ambitious strategy to end TB strategy. They declared after global epidemic 2015 in they declared this strategy. So by this they want to just they want to decrease the mortality by 90% and incident by 95% for the new cases of TB, to prevent the new cases by the 2035 and achieving the main milestones by 2025. So what do we need for that? We need better and shorter treatment. It's of course in India affordable prices, then novel diagnostics and prevention. So what are we lined up with? These are the new drugs. We have cell wall inhibitors, that is PA824, sutezolid, that is an analog of linezolid. It's which we use already for gram-positive infection. Then we have another cell wall inhibitor, delambenec, then SQ109, and then we have this imported drug, bedaquiline, coming up, which inhibit ATP synthesis. So these are the drugs with novel mechanism of action. So coming to bedaquiline, it is NEJM, New England Journal of Medicine, that it shortens the sputum culture conversion time compared to placebo, that is 77.6 versus 57.6 in placebo at 24 weeks. And they had two phase studies, phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 2 study, they had same results, good results in comparison with placebo at the end of 72 weeks. So dosage of the drug is 400 milligram daily for first 2 weeks, followed by 200 milligram 3 times per week for 22 weeks. So what is the attractive point about this drug? It has no cross resistance with ethambutol, pyrazinamide, moxifloxacin, amikacin and streptomycin. But it is yet not approved in European Union or India. I guess it will take 3-4 years to enter Indian market. So it has no adverse drug interaction with other anti-tubercular drugs, but every drug comes with some cost of warning. So what are the precautions with this drug? It can cause QT prolongation, again same arrhythmia problem. It comes with a black box warning. November 2013, again for MDR TB, and sputum culture conversion rates at 2 months were higher, 45% in comparison to placebo, 29%. Recommended dose is 100 milligram BD for 24 weeks. It is in US it is not approved, but it is undergoing phase 3 trial. And India, it has a long time to come. Coming to sutezolid, it is a linezolid analog, but it has got better antimicrobacterial activity and improved safety profile than linezolid. And it has no drug interaction with antiretrovirals, so it can be safely used in HIV with tuberculosis. And it has potential to shorten the duration of tuberculosis treatment. So it is currently undergoing phase 2 trial. Coming to analog of ethambutol, that is SQ109. It has good activity against both drug susceptible and drug resistant TB. Early bactericidal action gives us sputum conversion early, faster. Synergistic and additive action with isoniazid, rifampicin and second line antitubercular drugs. and it has got low bacterial mutation rate. Maybe we can use when all the drugs are resistant. This has got less resistant part. So it's currently undergoing phase 3 clinical trials in MDR-TB. Then this another molecule, Pritomanid, it's a PA824. It is a potent bactericidal and sterilizing action, safe, well tolerated at 100-200 milligram dose. Synergism with moxifloxacin and pyrazinamide. Potential again the same for to shorten the treatment. No significant cytochrome P450 interactions, so we can avoid drug-drug interaction. Useful option for patients co-infected with TB and HIV. Currently undergoing phase 2B and 3 trials. Now moxifloxacin, we all are aware of this REMOX trial which was conducted, but it ended up with negative results. They tried moxifloxacin to shorten the duration in place of ethambutol, but the results were negative. We have to give moxifloxacin again for the 6 months. So apart from MDR-TB, role of moxifloxacin is being investigated in the treatment of drug-sensitive TB as an alternative to isoniazid and ethambutol to shorten duration of treatment to 4 months. Now coming to rifampicin, the first line anti-tubercular agent. So what is the shortcomings of this molecule? So the major limitations are low and variable bioavailability, subtherapeutic serum rifampicin levels. It goes auto-induction as it has over CYP inducer and overexpression of PG, which has got efflux affinity. It removes the drug out of the cell. So poor GI and hepatic tolerance and multiple adverse drug-drug interaction. So these are the limitations we see with rifampicin, with adherence of treatment, and that is why we get, by non-adherence we are facing resistance problem. So overcoming this rifampicin limitations, what do we have to do? So overexpression of P-glycoprotein. We need these two things. So that helps in maintaining serum rifampicin level, improves response and reduces GI side effects. So which is the compound which acts? So the answer is we have piperine. It's an extract of pepper, black pepper, which acts as bioenhancer. And this Rizorin is a mixture of low-dose rifampicin, isoniazid and piperine, which is an outcome of joint research by CSIR, Jammu and Cadila Pharmaceuticals. And it has got DCGI approval in 2009 for treatment of drug-sensitive TB. So conventional, now if we compare conventional and conventional rifampicin and piperine with rifampicin, that is Rizorin. So what are the differentiating points? But with Rizorin, we have seen it is high and sustained. Then GI tolerance. It is poor nausea, vomiting, diarrhea with rifampicin, but Rizorin, this side effects are improved. Risk of hepatitis, that is high with rifampicin, because of that we have to change the medication. But with Rizorin, we have reduced risk of hepatitis. Then treatment adherence rate with rifampicin due to their side effects, poor GI tolerance and hepatitis. We have low adherence to women. So benefits would be preferred choice in treatment of drug susceptible pulmonary or extrapulmonary tuberculosis. Conditions are known to decrease rifampicin absorption. Patients who are likely to tolerate, who are not likely to tolerate intolerable GI side effects or hepatotoxicity with conventional 450 dose of rifampicin. And it is again an useful option in patients at high risk of developing drug-induced hepatitis, alcoholics, elderly, malnourished, and hepatitis B and C, etc.